Hey everyone, today's video I want to talk to you a little bit about how to drive more traffic into your store with some merchandising tips and fundamentals. I've had the privilege of working with some wonderful retailers that are super successful over the years, and these companies have amazing best practices that taught me a lot about merchandising and also gave me room to experiment with some of my own ideas and see how those things worked out for myself. So the reason I'm making this video though is if you are a small business owner or even a salesperson and you want to figure out what are some of the basics of how to make sure I present my product in its best possible light, then I hope to add a little bit of value to you in this video. So the number one idea I want to put in your mind today is that even though online businesses are on the rise and that more and more people are buying things through places like Amazon or just any other company online, and it is affecting the traditional brick and mortar business, the reality is that people still enjoy the experience of shopping in a beautiful store. They still enjoy it. It's still fun to go out and see everything and handle the merchandise and look at all the signage and interact with people. It's still an enjoyable process. And if you're a small business owner that has products to sell, you're going to want to take some of these lessons and apply them into your store. One of the things that I've seen historically is that a lot of small businesses that don't have a lot of merchandising skill yet, they may have great value. They may not be expressing it clearly. And because that's happening, they're missing lots of sales opportunities. There's three quick things I wanted to kind of cover as it relates to merchandising that I captured here in my notes. But ultimately, my goal with this is to make sure that you deliver an amazing customer experience that helps you attract more customers. So number one, let's talk about presentation for a moment. When you look at your store, are you adding value to what you sell, or are you cheapening the value of what you sell? One thing that Walmart does with their movies is they will put them in these huge dump bins, and they've found that that's helpful to a point. But if you look at when a new release is released, they will like make that thing beautiful and spectacular. Now the dump bin might cost $3, $5, something like that, but the new release might be $24. They're both a movie, and at one point that might end up in the dump bin. But what's funny about that is, does that display increase the value? And does the other one diminish the value? Of course they do. If you put a bunch of products in a huge old pile like that with no care to how they look, it makes it feel like a garage sale. If you take the time to put your products in the best possible light, it does add value to that product. So that's why I love what Apple does with their packaging. The paper feel is nice, the graphics are beautiful. When you open up the boxes, everything is really well thought out and designed in the layout. So unboxing it is a really cool experience. So ultimately, it's something that is really obvious when you go see examples of it that are really well done. Yet I see tons of small businesses that don't spend enough time on their merchandising, and I think it affects their sales. The second thing I wanted to mention is that some of the things that you can do are absolutely free. Some things are straightening, lining things up, bringing things to the front, putting things at certain levels. There's things you can do to make things look more full. There's things you can do to enhance the value and presentation that you're offering the customers. And when you do that, it does help. Like if you just make it look like a clearance area, then the customer expectation will be that all of this stuff doesn't matter that much, and I might as well buy it for as cheap as I can. But that's when you go, like if you look at a jewelry store where, I mean, a ring has really no practical value other than showing wealth, right? That's, or like, and even when it's a wedding ring, like really nice rings, the goal of it is to really just show like I'm putting this much value into something, but the thing doesn't do anything. It just it just sits on your hand. So in a jewelry store though, you would never see this like dump bin mentality. Like in order to get the prices that they're trying to offer, they present things in their best possible light and they make things look as beautiful as they can. Now, hopefully the object itself is quality, but if everything around it is also quality, then it reinforces why it should bring a price at that level. So presentation does matter quite a bit. I mean, chefs know this. If you go into a restaurant, fine dining is often just this experience where everything is so well orchestrated. Each plate that comes out is perfect. It's not haphazardly thrown on. So if it happens in fine dining, you should be looking at your store and thinking, what can I do for free that would enhance the value of what I'm selling to help justify the price point that it's sitting at? The second thing I want to talk about is signage. So one thing people do is they will have great graphics that are surrounding an item, or great photography with nice copy and text. Those types of point of display signage, those make a huge difference in terms of helping add value to the product. The other thing I'd mention about that is it actually helps with the total customer experience in the store. If you have great, stunning visuals, it certainly will impact what it is you're trying to deliver value on. The other part about signing though is the pricing. So one of the most frustrating things for people is when they go find an object that they really want, they are really excited about it, they think it's going to serve their purpose, but they can't find a price on it. One of the most insanely frustrating things, especially if you can't get help. Some people, if it's too much of a hassle, they just leave it and they move on, and you don't have a chance to sell them that product again. So making sure that pricing is easy to understand is super important for every business. It sounds like such a simple thing, but you'll find if you go shopping enough, you'll find where the pricing isn't clear, or it's confusing. And all of those things either lead to mistakes at the register, or they'll create problems for you in terms of frustrating customers and having them shop elsewhere. The last part I want to talk about is the shopping experience itself and how people find items and hook up with items. So end caps in every business are an incredibly important part. The basic way to understand that is that when you go out for something, you're typically going to go on a path, especially if you've been at a store where you know where the thing is that you want, you're going to go to that thing. But along the way, you're going to pass all these other things. And you might not go down the aisles, or you might not go into those departments, but you will go on the main racetrack and you will see things that catch your eye along the way. That's what an end cap does, is it helps put products in front of you that you might not have seen if they were buried in the department by themselves. The other thing I would mention around the shopping experience is having maybe second or third locations for items. You may have a home location for an item that, like this is where we keep it most of the time because this is the most appropriate spot to keep it. But if you think through different ways you can tie products together, and that's where the idea of sell withs and add-ons comes into play, is there might be products that go together really well, and one can boost the value of one, or they just need it and it's accessible, so they pick up both instead of just the one. Things like that add tremendous amounts of value to the customer's experience because you're adding more value to their life, and it helps increase sales because obviously you're selling more stuff, right? So those types of little things really help with the total customer experience because you're adding value in the way that they shop. You're adding value in the way that things are presented to them. When they go into the store, it makes them feel good about doing business there. If everything was just bare floor, solid walls, and rack and steel, could you get the price point that you wanted? See, Costco doesn't spend money on those things, and their model is very different than that. But what if you're not in the Costco model where everything's bulk? What if you're just a single store, you have products to sell, and you need to move those products? Like consignment stores come to mind. If consignment stores would adopt more fashion retailer type best practices, consignment stores would probably do better than they do. So just an example. Okay, those are really basic. If you've been in retail or sales for a while, some of these things may be very obvious to you. Some of these things you might have said, you know what, I should be doing that, and I'm just not on top of it. Either way, when all those things are working together and you have a store that is at that level, it's that beautiful, it does attract more customers to your store. And that's the real big point I wanted to make. It's not doing these things just for the sake of doing these things. My mission is to help you attract and find more customers for your business. That's what my business is all about. And I know that the customer experience is a huge component of that. So what I would do if I were you, if I own my own business or I'm a salesperson, I would look around and say, what can I do that's easy and simple that would add value to my customer's experience and help us justify the price points that we're asking for? Because we know we have something special, but if we're not communicating that to our customers, it's going to be an uphill battle, and we're going to probably not see as many customers as we'd like because there's so much competition. And this is one area businesses compete in, is how things are merchandised. If you like this video, please hit subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. If you want to reach out to me and ask me a question directly, I can be reached at adamsmithbranding@gmail.com. And until then, have a great day.